Hey guys, we've been hearing from a lot of teachers complaints about the students not doing all the instructions before the assignments, and I wanted to talk about why that might be the case and why some of the students are confused and how you can combat this. So I'm looking at my dashboard in Canvas, and it looks the same for students, except what the students are doing, sometimes they're using just this to-do list over here, but more than likely, a lot of them have switched to list view. Now, when we do technical support issues, we find a lot of times, a lot of times, these students are in this list view. And what this does is it posts out all of the assignments with due dates. Okay, so the students think that they're golden. They can just go here, look at the assignments, and get those assignments done. The problem is it's not showing them the instructional pieces. It's not showing them the pages and the videos and all the other things that we want them to watch before they start the assignment. So what we want to do is talk to the students about leaving their dashboard in card view and why it's important that they go actually into the course and look at the entire set of instructions and not just try and do the assignments out of the blue. All right, so I'm going to go over here to modules and show you what you can do as a teacher to kind of force their hand, to make them do the instructions and watch the video before they get into the assignments and quizzes, okay? So the way you do that is inside your module here, you've got these three dots here on the end, and you can click that and then edit the module. Now when you go to edit the module, you can change the name of the module, but we're not going to do that, right? Because it's all tied into the template, and if we change this, it can mess up the template. But what we want to do is we want to add requirements, not prerequisites. We do not want to add prerequisites. That's going to get you in trouble with students that are added into remote learning or dropped out of remote learning, new students that are transferred into your course. That's prerequisites going to cause all sorts of issues. Requirements is not. The requirements are just going to be set within the module, so you're not going to have the same issues. So I want to add requirements. The first thing I want to do, I want to add a requirement. And you've got this option here, students must complete all of the requirements, and this one will probably be unchecked for you to begin with. Students must move through the requirements in sequential order. That is key, okay? That's key, because otherwise they're just, they can do any of them in any order they want to, and that means they could still take that assignment or quiz without doing the instruction and practice for first. So we want to make sure that it's done in sequential order. And then the first thing we want to do is start listing out the items in the module over here by hitting the plus requirement. Now, when it first populates, it's going to grab the very first thing that's listed in the module, and then you have an option here on what is the requirement that you're setting for this particular item within the unit. So this is just a page, okay? So there's nothing to submit here. It's just a page. So the options that you have is view the item. This means that the students have clicked on it, and they could have just clicked off of it just right away. You have no guarantee that they have actually read it, but it is what it is. So view the item is one. Mark as done is a second option. So mark as done is basically the same thing as view the item. The only difference is that now when it's mark as done, there will be a blue button. It looks similar to this, and it just says done, and it'll be over here in the corner when they open up that page. This is going to cause some trouble for some students. You're going to get a lot of complaints about, I can't figure out how to go to the next thing, because they're not seeing the done button, okay? And since not very many teachers are doing this, it's not going to be really obvious to them, okay? The next thing is contribute to the page. So you could say contribute to the page and make them post something underneath it, but that's not always going to be an option. So what I would do if it's a page with instructions, it's not the best thing in the world, but I think your best bet is going to be view the item. So let's add the next thing in here. When you hit add requirement, it's going to just repopulate that very first thing. So I'm going to click here and go to the next thing on the list, which is announcements. And that's a video. So because it's a video, it's not a page, it's just a file that I've put into the module. The only option is to view the item, okay? So let's add the next thing, which is going to be the Unit 1 assignment. And because this is a assignment, I want them to submit it. So the options are to view it, mark it, submit it, or score at least. So score at least means exactly that. So if I had this set up where it was out of 100 points, I could say they had to score not 740, 70 out of 100. But I don't have this set up as points. I don't have any grades on this at all. It's like a file that I want them to submit. So I'm just going to leave it as submit the assignment. Now, they could totally screw this up. They could submit a blank page. That's worst case scenario, but it's still requiring them to do it. All right. And then I'm going to add the next thing, which was that. Let's go ahead and skip that and go to the quiz. And here, if it's a quiz, I've got it set up. I could do the score at least to 70. But at the very end is where I'll add that Nearpod practice. So what I'm doing here is, because the quiz is really the end of the instruction that I want, but I still want to have that score at least piece, I'm putting something fun at the very end. And so that's giving them some incentive to go back and do it again. So they can't do the fun thing until they've scored, at least a 70 out of 100. Right now it's 70 of 0, so that's not really going to work. So I'll have to leave that blank. But once I've got that set up, I'm going to hit Update Module. Now, what ends up happening then is that even though, let's say, only the quiz has a due date, that means that when the students are on their dashboard and they are seeing it in the list view, it will only mention that quiz, and it won't say anything about the instructional video or the page or anything like that. But when they go to click on it to take that quiz, it's going to kick back an error and tell them that they can't do it. So that's when the kid's going to come to you, and you're going to tell them, hey, remember, well, we already had that conversation about how you're going to leave your dashboard in card view. You're going to actually go into the course and take all the assignments and do everything like you're supposed to. Do you remember that conversation? Maybe you should do that instead. You get to have that conversation, and then everyone will be learning, and everyone will be happy.